Hi, everybody who's on here. Let's see. Hey, everyone. I don't think anybody is on here yet. I'm going to wait a little bit and see if people are going to get on. If not, I'll be talking to myself, and that is okay. Oh, my mom's here. Hi, Mom. Let's see. Okay, we're just waiting. I'm going to give them a minute. Just hold on, and then we'll start discussing the book. Okay, while we're waiting, Mom. um, this is good. It's really deep, so make sure you're kind of in the mood for it. Good. I'm glad you love the book. Mama Day is a good book. I guess we get started. It's 301. So Mama Day, I read this when I was in college with Dr. Brooks, as I mentioned in my last video. And this book was pretty much like the start, like of the fire that set my life together to where I am now with spirituality and everything else. It was this book alone. And actually, during that semester in college, Gloria Naylor actually passed away right after we read the book. So that was really sad because I have never read a book that seamlessly put rural city life or urban city life with rural country life. So what did you think about, like, what was something that you liked specifically, if any? I'll give you some time to do it, but I'll just go through my notes and I'll just start rambling. So let me see. Okay, in the beginning of the book, the first time I read it, I missed a lot of stuff. The second time I read it, I noticed in the beginning that Coco goes back to Mama Day's, you like the country life? Yeah, that's my favorite. There's like a warmth to the country life. It's really warm and very comforting. Whereas the city life, I felt like the tone and the speed was really fast paced, but the country life, that was my cup of tea as well. So in the beginning of the book, Mama Day, or yeah, it's in the perspective of Mama Day, looking back. Mama Day talks about how Coco goes to the other side where they go to communicate with their ancestors, the spiritual realm, whatever. She goes to the other side to talk to George. So she's already married. She has kids, two kids. One she names George, and she goes to the other side to keep in communication with her husband. And they just sit in silence and everything like that. Like, what did you think of that? Like, how crazy? How crazy is that alone? Okay, so let me see. City. Okay, so we already talked about city versus rural life. Okay, you didn't get that. Yeah, the first time you miss it, you have to read this book several times because there's like small nuances that you don't pick up at the first read. So and that I caught. I was like, what? Did you get the 1320? I think it was 1323s where they kept saying in the beginning. And while we're doing this, I'm going to go live on Instagram so I can get some more people over because so was Coco. Let me see. Get on live. I'm going live on Instagram. Hey, you guys, we're in the middle of book club. Come to my channel on Onyx Yodi on Instagram. We'll be talking about my favorite book, Mama Day, right here. So join us for book club. Okay, and that was done. I don't even know what I was talking about. Topic of hoodoo. So yeah, I didn't get, that's what I was talking about. I thought it was like one of those things you can use interchangeably. Like, you know how we say in Texas, you good? And you know, you could put that anywhere. Like, you good? Are you hungry? You good? Are you all right? You know, whatever. I thought 1823, that's what that was about, but I never understood it. Even in class, I didn't understand it. The topic of hoodoo, what I found interesting is the topic of hoodoo and how it was introduced to us. Because when you think of voodoo and you're not familiar with it and the cultural concepts behind it, it kind of just sounds like voodoo. And if you don't know what voodoo is, you just think it's like, you know, dark magic, and you just with what are those things? I don't know, those dummies that you stick pins in, voodoo dolls or whatever. You just think it's like dark magic. But the way hoodoo was introduced into the story, it seemed natural, seemed like a part of the culture. And I think it's hoodoo only because hoodoo is Southern Black magic, and voodoo is a religion. Yeah, they use hoodoo. They're using herbs, they're root working, they're conjuring, and just different things like that. Whereas voodoo, I'm not as familiar with voodoo, other than I know it's a religion and it has priests, I think, and just different clergy members, I guess we could call it. But I thought that the way she introduced hoodoo was so warming and so comforting. Like, this is something that we should be, as Black people connected to our roots, this is what we should have been doing this whole time. So I thought that was cool. What I also thought was interesting, how Mama Day used the root working and used the spirits on the other side to help get Bernice pregnant. And it's kind of like she went against the natural order. She went against the universe, the natural law, God, whatever you want to call it, this baby that she necessarily wasn't supposed to have. And then she ends up anyway. So I thought it was like divine intervention. Like, okay, you're going to get what you want, but guess what? We're going to get, you're not supposed to have this, so we're going to get it back anyway. So I thought that was super interesting. Did you get to that part where Bernice lost her son? Yeah. I'm just going to go through my list. No, okay. I'm just going to go through my list and things. It's fine. Um, I One of the questions I wrote down is, do you feel like George had to die? I don't think he had to die if he wasn't. I don't know. I think he has this air about him, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he just seemed like hyper masculine, especially when he slapped Coco for stepping out on her, but he was doing that himself. Um, he just seemed hyper masculine, and I feel as though he set forth and he was like, I'm going to fix it myself, even though Mama Day was fully capable of doing what she needed to do and going to the chicken coop and getting everything like that. So I feel as though he died at his own hands because he didn't see and he didn't allow Mama Day to do what she was supposed to do. So I didn't feel like George had to die, to be honest. Um, Let me see. So another thing I found interesting is the joining of the Western world with, uh, or not Western world, Western medicine and cultural traditional medicines. So there's a point in the book, oh man, I forgot what was happening exactly, where the doctor had to come in out of town to help. Oh, it was, I think, Bernice. Bernice was having a baby, I believe. The doctor came in to aid. So he's coming in from the Western world, is because it seems so, the island seems so isolated that I want to call it the Western world, even though it's a part of America. But the doctor comes in to aid, and he's limited. And then Mama Day comes in, and she's like, okay, well, let me show you what I'm doing. And she's showing him like, okay, this is what I do. So they have this mutual respect. This doctor who is trained. Right. Yeah, that's true. She did take medicine she shouldn't have taken. Absolutely. But Bernice was wanting to get pregnant by any means necessary. As you see, she went to go to the spirit world to get pregnant. So she didn't care. But the doctor that's trained in Western medicine and Mama Day, who's, this is her roots, her culture, and the fact that they are joining together to make something happen. I thought that was very interesting. And I also think it's kind of like parallel to um, Coco being in New York and Mama Day being in, I think, Georgia, right? They're in Georgia. And then them being together because it's, up north, urban, down south, and then the merging of the two. I think Gloria Naylor does such a great job at merging polar opposites and then placing them snugly together. Like, I think she does a really good job. Another thing I found interesting is Mama Day. They're in between. Yes. Another thing I found interesting is Mama Day eating with Coco and George Love. So in the beginning of the book, Mama Day kind of like peeped that Coco was feeling somebody. So she put some kind of dust or herb or whatever in the letter as kind of way to help Coco and George Love move along. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel as though I don't necessarily feel as though yellow. Was it yellow? I thought it was lavender, like a purplish. I don't know. I can't remember the exact thing, but it was like a dust residue or something. And she put it in the letter, and I'm like, does that affect free will? Like, by you putting magic or herbs or whatever intention you have, it is that affecting free will, since these people were kind of like budding and they were gelling a little bit, but since she sprinkled that thing on, they suddenly merged like that. I thought that was interesting. Just my thought. I don't know if I would go about sprinkling herbs on people, but you know. And then my other note is, do you think that Mama Day saw that George was going to die in the end? Since she has the sight, as they say in the book, so she must have known that he wasn't going to make it. Like she must have known, like, okay, this guy is stubborn, and he's not going to heed warning or do anything I'm telling him to do. So I personally think she knew he was going to die, but I don't know if she did. I didn't get that far. It's okay. Well, sorry to ruin the book. He died. But they said that in the beginning of the book. And they said that he died from a broken heart or a heart attack or whatever. And his heart basically imploded in the end because he had a bad heart. In the beginning, they mentioned that. Um, yeah, let me see. Yeah, so if Mama Day knew that he was going to die, my thing is, okay, then why wouldn't you help him? Why wouldn't you make some herbal concoction or conjure up some roots or something to help revive, or not revive, but to help aid him from making this choice? Like, are there certain things she's like, no, I'm not going to help with, and then, but yet she's willing to help with their love connection? Oh, really? She had the same condition that my grandma, he had the same condition my grandma had. That's crazy. Yeah, he had a weak heart. So, going to the chicken coop, fighting the chicken, and going to the spirit world, that was not meant for him and his weak heart. It wasn't. Um, yes. Well, since it's just me and my mama, I'm going to go ahead and conclude Mama Day's this book, this month's book. This is going to be posted to my YouTube channel just in case, just to recap. We're going to be back. We're going to be on time, since there won't be any technical issues now that I know that I can go on live whenever I need. But teaching my mother how to give birth will be here March 28th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're gonna do it. Good. I'm glad you liked it. I actually got the book selection from my teacher, the one who introduced me to Mama Day. So I thought that was super duper cool. I see somebody else joined. I don't know. So sorry. You're going to have to, I'm going to post it. Feel free to look through, feel free to comment and leave your whatever. And then we'll be meeting again at the end of this month on the 28th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to discuss the collection of poems. Thank you for your time. Thank you for reading. I hope you enjoyed it. It is a great, great book. All right. Bye.